Welcome to yet another edition of Sports Central Podcast. I want to start this podcast out by shouting out Sports Network. The operator of that is a friend of mine. They showed me how to put videos on my Instagram, and I'm very thankful that I did that. Thank you, Sports Network. Now, the NBA season is rolling around, so that means now I'm going to trying to think. Now I'm gonna start the season in a very fun way. I'm going to talk about how I'm basically just going to talk about every team's all-time team. I've put 2 of them on my Instagram so far, but I'm going to talk about all of them here on Sports Central. I will go ahead and look at some teams, and yeah. So the first team, I'm pretty sure this list of teams are here in alphabetical order. I won't be able to remember them all. First we have the Atlanta Hawks. So, the Atlanta Hawks this year, of course, they aren't very good. But, you know, it's only been the first game. Maybe Vince Carter take them to the championship or something. Who knows? But some names that I see on the Hawks team. First of all, your center has got to be Dikembe Mutombo. Lou Hudson could be one of your guards. Dominique Wilkins, he's a good one. He could be your small forward. I guess Joe Johnson could be your other shooting guard. Who'd be a good power forward on the Atlanta Hawks? I'm gonna look that up. Excuse me. You can't reach Google at the moment. Power forwards of all time. On Hawks. Okay, here are some power forwards that have been on the Atlanta Hawks apparently. Bob Pettit, Paul Millsap, Josh Smith, Rasheed Wallace, Dan Roundfield, Ersan Ilyasova, not Christian Laettner. Elton Brand, Al Horford, and Anthony Tolliver. And there's one more, actually. Mike Muscala. The best person I can think of from the names I just read would be Al Horford. So my all-time Hawks team is Lou Hudson, Joe Johnson, Dominique Wilkins, Al Horford, and who else? Dikembe Mutombo. Okay, this team is probably going to be stacked. The Boston Celtics. I don't even know where you start. I don't even know where you start on that all-time team. I just don't know where you start. I'm trying to think of who would be a good point guard. I mean, Rondo? I don't know. Who would be the all-time starting 5? I don't even know who you put at point guard. I'm looking here on Google, it says Bob Cousy. Okay, so I guess Bob Cousy is number 1 at shooting guard. Let me look this up real quick. Boston Celtic. Are you serious? Why does that... Boston... Okay, that's stupid. Boston Celtics shooting guards. I don't want to know people now. Here we go. The 25 plus best Boston shooting guards of all time. So I have Ray Allen, Sam Jones, John Havlicek, Dennis Johnson. Those are the top 4, according to this website. And if it were me, I would vote... I don't know what John Havlicek is like. So I'm going to assume... You know, I'm going to say Pete Maravich. He's an all-time great. Next team. Who is, in fact, the next team? The Brooklyn Nets? Oh, boy. I'm going to have to look this one up. Because, I can think of a few names. Brooklyn Nets all-time leaders. What about all-time teams? All-time team. I'm curious to see what Google says. Julius Erving, small forward. Jason Kidd. Drazen Petrovic. Vince Carter. Yeah. It's not necessarily the best thing to work with here. Rich Jefferson. So the all-time team, I'd put Jason Kidd at point guard. I mean, when I look at this list, I guess you have to put in Richard Jefferson, which at one point is pretty good. And then Vince Carter, Julius Erving, and Joe Johnson. Would we rather have Joe Johnson or Richard Jefferson? I'd say Joe Johnson, right? So, you have Jason Kidd, Joe Johnson, Vince Carter, Julius Erving. What was that really tall guy that was on the net? Derek Coleman. Those aren't like 2 centers I see on the I can't remember. Was it Sean Bradley? Sean Bradley. Yes, it was Sean Bradley. And you know what? Just for the fun of it, I'll put Sean Bradley as my center. Who is next here on this list of teams? Charlotte Hornets. You know, I was kind of excited to do this one. Okay, I'm going to see what Google says. I have some names in my head. All-time team. Okay, I'm curious to see what Google says. Alright, I'm curious to see what Google says. So, it has Kemba Walker at point guard. Google says Kemba Walker. Well, here are just some names. I'm not going to try to read them by position. I'll just read them in order. Eddie Jones, Glenn Rice, Larry Johnson, Alonzo Mourning, Gerald Wallace, Kemba Walker, Al Jefferson, Del Curry, Muggsy Bogues, Kendall Gill, Baron Davis, Derek Coleman, Stephen Jackson, P.J. Running, and Emeka Okafor. When I see this, I put, I don't know, Kemba Walker at point guard. It says that Eddie Jones is the highest rated person on this list here. These are NBA 2K ratings, by the way. And he's sitting at an 89, so I guess Eddie Jones at shooting guard. He's pretty good. Small forward, I'd have to say Glenn Rice. Power forward, Larry Johnson. Center, Alonzo Mourning. Very, very underrated squad there. But it's not that bad. You know? Like, they're actually pretty good. They deserve the titles being underrated. My favorite team, the Chicago Bulls. I can think of 3 or 4 players that should definitely be in this list. I think it's honestly just a mistake if this team is not, or, excuse me, if these players are not in it. So here are the 2K ratings. Here's what 2K says. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Derrick Rose, Artis Gilmore, Dennis Rodman, Jimmy Butler, Jerry Sloan, Bob Love. Some rando's trying to call me. Joakim Noah, Luol Deng, Horace Grant, B.J. Armstrong, Tony Kukoc, I think that's how you say it, Charles Oakley, and the Warriors head coach, Steve Kerr. I can already tell you my team. Derrick Rose at point guard, Michael Jordan at shooting guard, Scottie Pippen at small forward, Dennis Rodman at power forward, and Artis Gilmore at center. You know, I'm a Chicago Bulls fan, and I'll tell you what, we're kind of overrated. Not this season, but all time. Because the Chicago Bulls were good for 6 years, but people say they're easily one of the top franchises in the history of this league. When in reality, the Chicago Bulls, I mean, they had Phil Jackson and some elite stars at once. But when you look at teams like the Celtics, the Lakers, you know, the Heat, the Spurs, well, not really the Heat, kind of the Spurs. Like, look at those 3 teams. They're the top dogs in dynasties. And of course, the Warriors may join them. The Cleveland Cavaliers. As soon as I say that, there's one player I think we can all think of. Two actually. 2 very obvious players. One's in Boston, one's in Los Angeles. You know, I just wonder. Oh look, they just happen to be the first 2 players I see: LeBron James and Kyrie Irving. 2 other players I can think of are Mark Price and Brad Daugherty. I'm gonna see what 2K says. Well, there you go. The first 4 players: LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, Mark Price, Brad Daugherty. Here we go. I'm about to mispronounce his name. Zydrunas Ilgauskas, Kevin Love, Larry Nance, Ron Harper, Terrell Brandon, World B. Free, Campy Russell, Austin Carr, Hot Rod Williams. That's a name. Hot Rod Williams. Just for that, he's going to be in my lineup. Bingo Smith and Anderson Varejao. What is it with these guys' names? Bingo and Hot Rod. And World. And Zydrunas. What in the world was that? Anyway. So instead of someone reasonable at small forward, I'm putting in, or not small forward, but power forward, I'm putting in Hot Rod Williams in my power forward. So Kyrie, no, I'd probably say Mark Price at point guard, Kyrie Irving shooting guard, LeBron James small forward, of course Hot Rod Williams at the power forward, and at center Brad Daugherty. That one was fairly easy. I'm sorry to guys like Kevin Love, Larry Nance, but Hot Rod Williams is too much. Who else could be on this team? I'm only going to do a few more. I'm not going to go over every single team, but I'll do 3 more. So I'll just scroll through my list, put my finger on one. Memphis Grizzlies. One spot below the Los Angeles Lakers. So, Grizzlies all-time team. I mean, this one isn't going to have many people on it. I want to have to go to 2K for this. like I have in most of these. Pau Gasol, Marc Gasol, Zach Randolph, Mike Conley, Sharif Abdur-Rahim, Shane Battier, Tony Allen, Mike Bibby. Have you all seen Mike Bibby lately? He went from being some scrawny point guard to being someone who looks like Zion Williamson. Jason Williams, White Chocolate, Bryant Reeves, Rudy Gay, Byron Scott, Bonzi Wells, James Posey, and Greg Anthony. I say you put in Mike Conley at point guard. Mike Conley. Oh no, I forgot about White Chocolate. Jason Williams. Jason Williams at point guard. Oh, isn't Jason Williams a bit taller than Mike Conley? I think so. So Mike Conley point guard, Jason Williams at shooting guard. Small forwards, not much of a battle for me, to be honest. Shane Battier. Power forward, Marc Gasol. And center, Pau Gasol. Actually, I don't know. Who's better as a center? Who's better as a power forward? Maybe Pau's a better power forward, because Marc Gasol's a bit more husky than Pau Gasol. So Pau Gasol at the power forward spot and Marc Gasol at the center spot. I'll just do two more teams real quick. We scroll and Milwaukee Bucks. There's one guy. There's just this one guy. I don't know if you know his name, because I can barely remember his name. He's some Greek person. Number 34. Not sure if you know his name. He's got a pretty long last name. But, yeah, I'm not sure. But I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm talking about Giannis Antetokounmpo. So, at the point guard spot, I would say Oscar Robertson. At the shooting guard spot, I would say Sidney Moncrief. At the small forward spot, Bob Dandridge. At the power forward spot, I would say Giannis Antetokounmpo. And at center, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And of course, I promised you all I'd do one more. And so here that is. Just gonna put my name on an NBA team. And this ought to be a good one to do. Toronto Raptors. Something tells me that I actually do have a pretty good idea of who's going to be on this Toronto Raptors team. I should probably just put Raptors all-time team. Names like Vince Carter, DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, Chris Bosh, those kind of names come up to me. Those are the kind of names I hear, or that I think of when I think all-time teams. Okay, so 2K19 ratings again. Vince Carter, DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, Damon Stoudemire, Antonio Davis, T-Mac, Tracy McGrady, Morris Pearson, Jose Calderon, Doug Christie, Jonas Valanciunas, Lou Williams, Amir Johnson, Terrence Ross, Alvin Williams, and Serge Ibaka. At the point guard spot, this is not a question for me. You have to put in Kyle Lowry. At the shooting guard, DeMar DeRozan. Small forward, Tracy McGrady. Power forward, Vince Carter. Center, Chris Bosh. That one was pretty easy. Alright. I think that might be it for today's podcast. Actually, no, it will not be. I actually have one thing to look for here. I saw something. The G League is going to give out here it is. The G League will give out select contracts that will be worth $125,000 for players who are not eligible to be in the NBA, and also for players who do not want to take the one and done route in college. That's going to be it for this episode of Sports Central Podcast. Thank you for listening, and talk to you next time.